Hello, my name is Anthony Dennis.
And I'm Teresa Nadeau. Welcome to Able Lives, the series which explores the lives of people with disabilities. We focus on our unique abilities and the need to make this world accessible to all.
Throughout our series, we have looked at people with disabilities and the issues they face on a daily basis. In this, the 10th episode of Able Lives, we look at how families cope with disability within the family. Our segments focus on the families of individuals with complex disabilities, people who live in poverty, aging families, and families of people whose disabilities are less than obvious. Understanding how families cope with disabilities gives us a more comprehensive view of the circumstances and experiences of people with disabilities.
We will meet Michelle, a single mother who had to choose between working and caring for her child. Then we spend time with Peter, a triathlete who made his fortune in fitness centers, and we hear how disability affected his family. Next, we'll visit with Janet, a senior living on her own terms, thanks in part to the support of her brother Peter and services in the community.
Finally is the My Opinion segment, where Tyler Curry speaks his mind. But first, few families have had more to cope with than the Steeles. Their lives would change in an instant with the birth of fourth child, Gabriella.
I'm an occupational therapist, and as soon as they said neuromuscular disease, I just went hysterical because I knew what that meant.
What that meant was that little Gabriella was born with multiple disabilities that affected everything from her muscle control to the formation of speech. Adding to that, Gabriella broke her neck and arms at birth. That meant throughout her early life, the family became accustomed to health emergencies.
My kids wouldn't even think twice to see an ambulance in the driveway. We've had to call 911 so many times. So it's not normal around here, I would say.
But Jackie, Gabriella's mother, says she prefers that to the alternative.
25 years ago, I visited those institutions as a student. And I know what that was like. That was a very difficult life for children. I would never subject my child to that. It's not like she's severely retarded. She is not. She's very aware. She knows all the family members. She interacts with us all. She would not survive in an institution at all. She would never survive.
So Gabriella would be cared for at home by the whole family, by visiting nurses, teachers, music therapists, and other professionals. But to help keep Gabriella alive and well, the Steeles would also have to employ a myriad of technology and equipment.
We have a ventilator, suction machines, an oxygen compressor, we have a pulse oximeter, a nebulizer, voice output switches, the Hoyer lift, porch lift, a wheelchair van with an under-vehicle lift, a J-tube, a G-tube, feedings, 15.5 hours a day, 7 other medicines, respiratory therapist, 98 hours a week of nursing care, 3 hours a week of a teacher, 3 hours a week of a music therapist, private PT, school PT, OT, private OT, speech therapy, other private PT. She has contractures. She has to have hip range of motion every day. You have to reposition her every 2 hours and suction her. She has to wear her body jacket, position sometimes on her stomach, weight bearing on her feet. She has a stander. She has to spend so much time in her wheelchair, her manual wheelchair, power wheelchair. There's 2 of everything, just in case.
Knick, knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone.
But of course, to pay for all this, the Steeles' expenses are supplemented by government assistance.
It's probably about, about $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. We're very fortunate. We have our primary insurance and we're on the DMR waiver. We would lose our house without the DMR waiver, but there really isn't enough money. There should be more. Gabby squeezed in on a DMR waiver before they closed the waiver. There are so many people waiting. I've met a lot of families who wish they had the benefits we had, and so we do understand that we're very lucky. The middle income people really get overlooked.
It's difficult because there are expenses that aren't covered. We're very blessed that there's a lot of expenses that are covered, because if they weren't, we'd be in much worse shape than we are. But there's a lot of pressure as far as that, because you feel like, you know what, I really need to step up and do whatever's necessary to provide.
Indeed, the rest of the family takes on the responsibilities related to Gabriella's round-the-clock care.
I guess sometimes I have to not do something because I have to watch Gabby or help my mom do something with her. If my mom has to drive me somewhere, then she has to see if the nurses could, if there's going to be a nurse, and if she can't, then I either have to get a ride somewhere or I can't go at all.
Like every kid, you get frustrated with, oh, the nurse canceled again and we can't go. That's unfortunately part of our normal life. So it's been more difficult, I think, for them. You know, their whole social life and everything revolves around Gabby and do we have a nurse and can we go?
Providing is also, you know, striking some sort of a balance to be there and to spend time with Gabrielle and to support Jackie and taking care of Gabrielle because Jackie can't shoulder that whole load herself. And being there for our other 3 children who are trying to grow up in a family that has a lot of challenges with Gabby in the position she's in.
Those challenges include Mr. Steele's all-night attention to Gabriella when a nurse cancels a visit. The entire Steele family is dedicated to Gabriella and her pursuit of happiness, which includes music therapy sessions.
You want to help? Okay, here we go.
I think she's happy. As happy as you could be in her situation. If she didn't have so many responsive, helpful people, I don't think she would be happy.
While it's difficult for outsiders to notice Gabriella's joy, Jackie says it's obvious to family members who see it in her eyes, subtle gestures, and even outward sounds and jests.
And we've had one miracle after another with Gabby. They said she would never breathe on her own. She does. They said she wasn't going to live 2 weeks, 2 months, and she's going to be 6. There's a lot of things that they said she'll never do, and she has.
Were you singing?
Indeed, Gabby continues to amaze. Certainly, Gabby's will to live is buoyed by the effort of her siblings, and most of all, her parents. But what happens to a family when the situation is reversed?